Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back another video from Mother's Basement, and I need to apologise for not letting you all know that I was going away to London Comic Con, and it was absolutely amazing. I am working on a video to show you how much of a good time I had, but just to make up for the lack of uploads, I'm going to try and make sure I get 3 videos up today, 3 videos up tomorrow, and then I'll work on the video and back to normal scheduling. But yes, today we're checking out the hottest trash anime of spring 2023. I love these. I can't wait to see what it is that I should be avoiding. I am enjoying this season. I've got a lot to catch up on after the last couple of days. But yeah, let's see what the hottest trash anime, I love pause on this face, of spring 2023 is.
Bonsoiri,
Hello.
and welcome to Ches Garbage, where we
Yay.
roast only the finest trash each anime season has to offer. I know that many of you were upset at the lack of isekai on our winter menu, but worry not. The trash chefs of the anime industry have heard your complaints and overcompensated like there's no tomorrow. Which
Nice.
there may actually not be, for those of you brave enough to try our dessert. That anime is truly vile. But before we get there, we'll be stuffing down 5 courses of isekai badness.
5! My god.
Plus a harem horse derves to get you started. And we've even got some non-portal fantasy trash in stock as a substitute for the isekai intolerant among you. We've got a mountain of trash
Whoa,
to dig into
that's
this
a lot.
evening, so let's get digging.
Oh my god. I am excited.
Our first anime of the evening may not be an isekai, but if you told me the cafe Terrace and its goddesses fell out of a time warp, I'd believe it.
I've not watched this one, so interesting.
If you miss the humor and vibes of harems from the mid-2000s, but
Okay.
not their limp-dicked wet blanket protagonists, this one's for you. After inheriting his grandmother's house and the attached beachside cafe, Tokyo U finance douche Hayato Kasukabe.
Oh, is this the one where they're all trying to get him to buy it, or... I can't remember. I've seen something just... yeah.
Is shocked to discover the property comes with 5 nubile young squatters who Granny took in to fill the void after he left. All of whom
Okay.
will do anything, perhaps even that, to stop him from turning the place into a beachside parking lot.
That's the one. Right, yeah, they're trying to stop him selling it. Right.
But if you've seen even one of these shows before, you won't be shocked, even a little, by the personalities in his harem starter pack. You got the angy but sometimes not one, the dumb sports one, the cute yet crafty one, the cool aloof one who's secretly a softie, and the shy nice one who's secretly a freak. I
Nice.
initially put this one in the bargain bin of the ones to watch because I was thoroughly impressed by the quality of its first episode's
Right,
plot,
so that's why I
and the
recognised
story
it. He mentioned it in the one. Right, okay, but as it's gone on, interesting.
of that episode hinted at some decent character writing to match.
Oh, but no.
Unfortunately, that plot degrades somewhat along with the
Oh,
rest of
no.
the animation from episode 2 onward, but the
Oh,
character
that's
chemistry
bad.
stays strong,
So they just put everything in the first episode.
and the overarching story about maintaining a small business and a tight-knit community and carrying on a lost loved one's legacy with a quirky newfound family is interesting and unusually adult for this ostensibly adult-oriented genre. That story still gets interrupted on a regular basis by nonsensical jokes about the girls taking their defining traits to absurd extremes
Right.
and or flashing protag-kun for no reason in particular. This show ain't out to rock the
Just
horror
'cause.
anime boat, but all those girls have hidden depths to them that are revealed in time, and Hayato's actually got a personality and a bit of a backbone, which makes for a refreshing change of pace from your typical Keitaro or Kazuya. Cafe Terrace and its goddesses doesn't quite have the same special spark as
quintessential
Tezuka
quintuplets,
Productions'
yeah.
last harem thing, Quintessential Quintuplets.
I dropped off on that. Should I get back into that? Because I actually remember quite enjoying it.
But if you're looking for a tasty snack, this show has 5. I give it 2 modest restaurant waste bins full of slightly stale breadsticks and half-eaten cake.
My God.
The first of your 5 courses for this evening,
Okay.
Pottage, attempts to freshen up the otherworldly formula
What
that
is
even
this?
trash connoisseurs are growing tired of at this point, in a simple yet potentially effective way. By
Oh, I watched the first episode of this. This is the one where he's already been, he's come back, and then he's teleported back to the world that he saved with his friends. Yeah, I thought that just wasn't that great.
Doubling the heck down. Summoned to another world for a second
Yes.
time asks what would happen if a typical Japanese youth who got called to be the savior of a fantastical parallel plane, then sent back home as a reward for his good deeds, got called back again to do it all over, this time in front of all his classmates, with all the OP skills that he had the first time, of course. It's an Isekai New Game Plus, if you will, or
Okay, yeah.
Ari Ferretta without any of the setup or interesting personality, if you won't. Now, at first, the answers it finds to that question are fairly entertaining, like when the aloof captain of the Royal Guard assigned to train
I did find that quite funny. She's all like, and then she realizes she's like, use me as a seat.
all the classmates, realizes who Protag Kun is, and immediately goes full Konosuba darkness horny sub mode for him, begging him to sit on her.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun, as are the bits of him sitting around with his old adventuring party, reminiscing about the good old days and trying to figure out how to bring the good old days back.
And then, like, I don't understand why all the classmates were brought in. Like, the girl has, like, a love interest with him, obviously, but then I was just like, what's the point?
In moderation. Unfortunately, from episode 2 onward, in which Protag Kun agrees to escort a jeweler's granddaughter to the Demon Queen to return a brooch that he originally gave her as a present, but then she had to get it sent out for repairs, it quickly becomes apparent that catching up with old pals is his primary method of solving all the anime's problems.
Okay.
Which I guess makes sense. I mean, he's already saved the world and made friends with all the important people, so all he's got to do is call in some favors with everyone who puts respect on his name and flex on the few fools who don't until the day is saved, but that doesn't make it a fun or interesting plot device. The concept of this show certainly has potential.
Yeah, I do like the idea of, like, going back again, but...
But the execution here is just excruciatingly boring.
Oh, no.
Isekai again gets one wastebasket full of emails to former co-workers clearing up minor miscommunications that were printed out and framed for some reason.
That is such a bizarre, like, thing, but alright.
I left that last show on the menu for the Isekai purists, but I'd honestly recommend substituting
no, is this in
it
the
for,
trash?
I can't believe it's not Isekai option. The legendary hero is dead.
I watched the first episode and thought it was quite interesting. I haven't carried on because I was going to binge it, but oh.
A light yet deeply trashy dish steeped in the delicious flavors of anime girl thigh and daikon radish, which are practically indistinguishable from certain camera angles once you slip a stocking on them. That's our hero, not to be confused with the legendary one, radish farmer Toka Scott's favorite hobby, because when you're a thigh gap fetishist in a small town and your picked up childhood friend won't give you the time of day because she has a crush on the legendary hero, there's not much else to do. He does get a chance to win Yuna's heart when the village is attacked by a demon,
But then accidentally kills the hero, and then, yeah, has his soul put in the hero's body, but the hero's body is dead. It's a weird one.
But before he can lure it into a pit trap with sumptuous barbecue, the hero swoops in to save the day first,
And falls into
then
the trap,
swiftly gets killed in that pit trap because, like all shonen protags, Sion Blandon's a sucker for meat. Fortunately for the otherwise doomed world, Sion's traveling companion, Henri the Necromancer, has a backup plan and plants the soul of the clever warrior who bested the hero in combat by accident inside his magically destined body to carry on his destiny of sealing off the demon realm for good. Unfortunately, not only is Toka a total scumbag, he's also got the power level of a literal baby and can't even muster the magic to keep the skin from falling off his borrowed bones. Let alone
I did like.
legendary.
I thought it was funny how the sword bent as well when he went to slice. I thought that was quite good. Yeah, this first episode I really enjoyed, but
Sword up. Not even when he needs to get it up to save that childhood friend who seems to have that Fire Force girl's curse where she can't keep her clothes on
right.
for any
Yeah.
good fight scene. Now, as it's finding its feet, this anime's humor is pretty bog standard, if a touch more morbid than your typical ecchi fantasy harem thing, and its pacing remains kind of a mess throughout. But by the time we're introduced to the villainous thigh bone fetishist who wants to bring equality to the world by turning everyone into sexy skeletons, it's revealed its own very distinct and fun personality that seriously sets it apart from most of the genre and most isekai, and fully lives up to its infectious banger of an OP.
Yeah, I remember the OP being pretty damn good.
I give The Legendary Hero Is Dead 4 flaming coffins, the trash can for people, full of stupid sexy root vegetables and bootleg Necronomicons.
I think my favorite opening track at the moment is Hell's Paradise. Like, as soon as I hear that, bow, 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 I'm like, yeah, let's go.
For the Poisson course, we're, of course...
Oh, yeah, this I didn't like this. This is the sister one, isn't it? Yeah, this was weird. Like, this is next level weird. This, like, the sister defo has a crush on the brother kind of thing. Like, no.
Serving up the fishiest title of the
Animation's boss, but
season, my one-hit kill
There we
system.
go.
An anime that gives you everything that name promises and so much more. Both in the sense that it is exponentially
look at that,
inzestier
though.
than you can
It is.
possibly imagine. Starring an older sister down so bad for her little bro that
So
she
weird.
literally beats herself into a coma.
To isekai herself to where he's been isekai'd.
Grope him again after his fateful date with Truck-kun, but also in the sense that it goes way harder than a show with that concept has any right to. As far as jokes go, the one of puny little protag-kun paying OPO Nachon in heavy petting sessions to protect him from big scary monsters becomes routine like halfway through episode 1. The bit where everyone else gives him credit for all the cool stuff she does and all the ladies are constantly gagging for him is even more predictable than that. And adding a second, slightly less OP demonic older sister figure who also wants to jump his bones as her rival doesn't exactly mix things up. But then, anytime you're tempted to roll your eyes at any of that, you risk missing some of Spring's most
animation.
insanely beautiful action saga.
Yeah.
When OPO Nachon f***s an orc or dragon or slightly less OP demonic surrogate Onachon up,
Does
she
look good.
f***s them up like Goku going to town on a dude who just killed Krillin. And that's just for insulting her beloved little bro. Woe betide any fool who actually lays a hand on him or gets in the way of him laying hands on her. Fans of gorgeously gratuitous cartoon violence will not want to miss this one.
Like, who animated it? What studio is this? Like,
Even if the quality
what else have they worked on?
of the production and animation in the last couple episodes doesn't quite live up to the first few, the storyboards and general compositions of the action scenes are still phenomenal. I give my one-hit kill sister 3 dumpsters full of flaming piles of money and Alabama marriage life.
What does that say? Animation quality is almost always a product of good scheduling and or artist enthusiasm rather than budget. Also, right, so it's not just necessarily the fact that they've got the money, it's just maybe they spend more time on it. Okay. Her cousin's not their sister.
Licenses. If the true meat of the trashy isekai experience lies in how it panders to the
What's this
wishes
one?
and anxieties of its nerdy loser target audience, then by far the meatiest entry.
Oh, why is this on your trash list? This is such this is the he finds the. I've done well this season. I've watched quite a bit. This is the one where he goes into his granddad's room, finds an isekai place, and then but then he can get money from that place to bring back, and then the episode where he does the photography and that, like, that's cool. Although it's a shame that he doesn't stay this way. I didn't like how he becomes all hot and stuff, and then that's what fixes it. But I still think this is quite entertaining.
That I can serve you this season has got to be I got a cheat skill in
There you
another
go.
world and became unrivaled in the real world too. In introducing its protag-kun Yuya, cheat skill makes sure that target audience knows exactly 2 things about him. Firstly, he's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
The nicest guy, TM, who will bravely step in to save a beautiful milady when she's being hit on and grabbed at by convenience store thugs.
Yeah, but then, what if she's part of a really rich school? Then she's gonna remember that, even when you're horrified, and then be like, come to our rich school.
And no one else will say a word. Secondly, he is the fattest guy, and also the ugliest. Possibly even uglier than he is fat, and everyone bullies him for
Jesus,
being so fat
Jeff.
and ugly, especially his own family, because they're all hot, and his uggo chubboness brings great shame upon them. Also, his grandpa, who was the only person who ever saw past his ugly fatness to like him ever, bequeathed his house to him, and only him, which
Bless.
made his family hate him even more and disown him harder. So now he lives alone, subsisting on a part-time job that he loses on middle school graduation day because it conflicted with his scheduled beating by his siblings for being too fat and ugly. So he punches the bathroom wall and in the process uncovers his grandpa's secret treasure room with an isekai portal in it, like you do. And upon stepping through that portal, he magically inherits another house, this one magic, on the other side.
Hey, he's got hot girls both sides. He eventually gets it sorted, man.
Which also has a bunch of OP magic weapons in it, and you get some OP skills just for signing the deed. And by using those weapons and skills to kill the OP monsters that can't cross his OP magic fence, he levels up a whole bunch, causing him to spontaneously become superhuman and also tall, skinny, and hot when he goes to bed. Which of course pisses off his bullies
Of course, yes. It's like, wait a minute, what? You're not allowed to be cool.
and siblings even more when they see him again in high school. But before they can beat him up for that, the milady that he nice guyed out of trouble earlier shows up in a limo, and it turns out she's the daughter of the principal of the bestest school in Tokyo, where he's invited because he's such a nice guy, and he doesn't think he'll fit in there, but then everyone wants to be his friend. Not long after that, he goes to the mall to get some
I like this episode.
nice clothes to go with his new nice face and body, and gets scouted to be a model by a photo shoot that happens to be there. But then the male model that he was brought in to
He's a dick.
replace shows up and is a jerk and a bully and hits on a milady model who didn't want to be hit on.
Let's fight.
So he beats that guy up and everyone claps. Then his middle school bullies show up to his new high school.
Oh, I've not
with
seen
their
this episode
motorcycle
yet.
gang
No,
to beat him
spoilers,
up and
no.
kidnap the hot principal's daughter who wants to be his girlfriend, but he beats them up instead and everyone claps.
Yay.
Then he gets a magic puppy dog in the other world.
Stop spotting things for me, no!
And takes it for a walk in the park where he runs into that milady, plus the model milady, who start low-key catfighting over him, but then a purse snatcher snatches a purse, so he and his dog have to catch him, and, say it with me now, everyone claps.
Yay.
Also, while all that's happening in the real world, a princess in the other world is on his ass to marry her, and every monster that he kills just conveniently drops very specific and useful things like a portable transforming magic hot tub.
Okay,
I
cool. Yeah, that's sick. Alright.
honestly don't know if I've ever seen an isekai this nakedly self-indulgent that wasn't hentai. Heck, the way it's barely animated with loads of digital parallax camera pans over oddly shiny static artwork, it's easy to mistake for hentai. Even if the most sexual thing Cheat Skill IRL actually does is the author furiously rubbing his own self-insert protag-kun raw. The friction of which specifically is what ignited the full-blown 5-alarm dumpster fire rating that I have chosen to award this glorious piece of anime.
Okay.
That, regrettably, makes a perfect segue into the aristocrat's otherworldly
I've not watched this one. Not watched this one.
adventure, serving gods who go too far. So I'm forced to commit a slight fox pass here by serving the season's cheesiest dish before the sorbet. If your main gripe about a typical isekai is that Protag-kun doesn't get his dick ridden nearly enough, metaphorically speaking, then this is the anime for you.
Okay.
I mean that literally, try Slave Harem. After getting between a convenience store robber's knife and some cute girls, Kazuya Shina finds himself reborn as Kine von Silford,
Okay.
third son of a generic noble family in a generic fantasy world where he enjoys a generic upbringing, learning magic on the down low as he's doted on by his parents and a sister so obsessed with him that she literally has a special obsessed with her brother title on her status screen until his baptism at age 5, when all 7 of the world's gods give him level 10 blessings, which is perhaps a little bit OP considering that most people get 1 or 2 blessings max and their levels are supposed to cap out at 5.
So, what? Why? Why?
Even when his parents hire both a dollar store Eris Grey Rat and a dollar store Roxy Sylphie hybrid to tutor him in magic and adventuring and stuff, all they can really do is sit on the sidelines talking about how awesome Kind-sama is while he goes around one-shotting everything from goblins to dragons
boring,
to
man.
Adventurers Guild bullies. And that's just the start. All told, like, half this anime's entire runtime is just people praising Kind for things he did, or maybe if the writers are feeling spicy want to attempt some comedy, complaining that he did stuff too awesomely, with the occasional break for a cute rich girl to beg him to marry her for being so awesome. The first 2 of those actually happen at the same time, when he saves the 10-year-old third princess and her duke's daughter bestie from a whole mess of orcs, which also results in the king giving him an entire barony and a mansion.
Jesus Christ.
And it's a touch uncomfortable watching a child who's mentally at least in his mid-20s hit on and lose sleep over those regal grade schoolers, but the show does eventually balance that out, sorta not at all, with an age gap in the other direction by having the big titty fight slut captain of the guard who's
Big titty fight slut.
also a 300-year-old elvish princess fall in love with him after he whoops her ample butt in a duel. Also, that big titty elf's name is, I shit you not here, Tijuana von Liebert.
Okay.
God, I love it when anime just throws European words in a blender. The wiki tells me there's at least one more fiancé inbound at some point, which would officially put Kine ahead of Ranma on that particular scoreboard, but it also indicates that his sister will eventually fall for a guy who's not him, so that's
good.
Something.
Good.
Though if they cut out all the scenes of people and or gods sitting around gassing Kine up, I honestly think this anime adaptation could have already caught up to that point in the light novels. Like in the episode where Kine invents sparkling wine and hamburgers for his mansion warming party, no less than 3 characters have their own separate Shokugeki reaction shots where they just absolutely shit their pants over how delicious both of those things are, which could get pretty messy, but then Kine also invented a magic bidet, which like 5 different people react to in that same episode.
My God.
The series does have a few interesting ideas amid all the generic fluff that a better writer could have taken in some interesting directions, like how the god of commerce apparently grants divinely enforced patents, but of course it never hops off Kine's dick long enough to explore any of them. I give the aristocrat's otherworldly
Sounds
adventure
terrible.
2 dumpsters full of suspiciously stained couch cushions with like 3 factory defect Mushoku Tensei Nendoroids hidden somewhere among them. If you're getting tired of 2-bit generic fantasy landscapes rendered in 1-bit animation at this point, I can hardly blame you, but Kamikatsu, working for God in a godless world, is the...
This was weird. This was really strange. Like, yeah, wasn't a fan.
perfect antidote to what ails you. From setup to setting, this isekai tale of a bodybuilding cult leader's son reincarnated in a world with no concept of religion after a ritual gone wrong is anything but generic. Yukito didn't wish to end up in a world
The way this started off was so weird. It's like, wait, so do I just keep tugging on this?
where ladies think hand jobs are a CPR technique, but sometimes Lord Mitama works in mysterious ways. As for the anime animation part of the equation, that goes so far beyond terrible that it somehow loops back around to being good again. You might not believe such a thing is even possible, but I challenge
Oh
you
my
to
god,
look
this
at
was something
dorky, buck-toothed
atrocious.
CGI monster.
This is atrocious.
Monster. This live-action footage of a guy driving a rice harvester with a dead-eyed anime face awkwardly pasted over his head, or all this pixel art that they use in place of actually drawing the action scenes, and describe this show's production any other way.
Oh my
the
God.
team behind this anime clearly realized early on that they didn't have the manpower or resources to achieve anything close to quality.
This is
in
so.
time for
I'm so glad I
broadcast.
only watched the first episode, man.
And thus opted to instead devote everything they had to creating one giant glorious shitpost, which turns out to be an oddly good fit for the off-the-wall story they're adapting.
Yeah?
The world that Yukito has found himself trapped in isn't just devoid of any concept of God, it's also devoid of all the typical escapist trappings he's come to expect from the isekai that he watches and reads to escape from his life as the son of a cult leader.
Right.
Besides the occasional monster. Really, it's devoid of anything to do besides tilling fields and getting plastered. Magic,
Nice.
or possibly sufficiently advanced technology, does seem to exist,
Ah,
but that's all
design's
in
cool.
the hands of this tyrannical empire, which dictates the lives of its citizens down to the days they die. So when Yukito and his new villager buds run afoul of that empire by not dying on their preordained day,
God.
they gotta find a way to fight back against those OP magic-wielding knights, and fast. Luckily, he has God on his side,
Woohoo.
specifically Mitama, the god of his dear old dad's cult, who possesses the vast, miraculous powers to level mountains and even raise the dead. Unluckily, those powers are directly proportionate to the number and fervor of her worshippers, which currently sits at a big fat 0 on account of how much Yukito hates dear old dad. So the only way to bring those numbers up is to follow in dad's footsteps and start a cult of his own,
Yay.
using bribery, extortion, and good old-fashioned Barnum effect flimflammery. It's been ages since I've seen an anime premise, isekai or otherwise, this audaciously original. I think it could have been genuinely great if it weren't so aggressively, hilariously terrible.
Yeah.
As it stands, though, I've got to give Kamikatsu one septic truck
It does look
left
bad,
on the
like.
tracks of the 7 p.m. Fireworks and Vodka Express. Now, with your palates cleansed,
What is this? What is this?
it's at long last time for dessert. A dish so
Oh, this is the VTuber one. Right, okay. Yeah. It's meant to be like looking back in, like, what happens with VTubers and that. Okay.
so decadently disgusting, I can scarcely believe it's real. The first ever official VTuber TV anime, Kizuna No Alele, which follows a group of starry-eyed teens who are all quite pointedly not Kizuna Ai as they train to become VTuber elites at a special virtual high school in hopes of one day winning the
Wow.
prestigiously non-fungible Lapin Door Trophy. Now, the concept of an elite digital academy training the next generation of virtual
I like the
YouTubers
idea.
sounds, well, actually, if you know even the first thing about how VTubing works, it sounds insanely fucking boring. And indeed, watching the students go to shuffle back and forth while singing class and get assigned essays about what makes an avatar look good doesn't exactly make for compelling television, especially not when they end up shuffling back and forth while singing the show's ending theme twice in the first 2 episodes, meaning that more than 10% of the first 60 minutes of this show
It's the
consists
ending.
of listening to the same minute and a half of that song 4 times. And that's
Oh.
not even the only scene in the first episode that's just multiple minutes of poorly motion captured dancing. Though, at least when Kizuna Ai does it, there's a little bit of camera work involved. Not that she's
Okay.
in the show much at all. The whole plot is that Kizuna disappeared mysteriously
Oh,
a
no.
few years ago. And the big
No.
question that drives the story is whether she abandoned her fans or left for some other reason,
Oh
with
my
plucky
God.
Protag
Mystery,
Chan
intrigue.
being just about the only one left in the school who still believes in her. Well, actually, the big questions driving most episodes are stuff like, what's Protag-chan gonna eat for lunch today?
My
But
God.
on paper, at least, that's the big one. Which I'd say is the show's biggest mistake, playing an extremely boring concept with extremely flat characters extremely straight, while the actual star that the series was made to promote stays entirely off screen, if it didn't also devote several minutes of episode 3 to shilling NFTs.
ノンフォンジボートークン
Oh.
非代替性トークンのことです。つまりノンファンジブルトークンって代替できない暗号資産ってことで OK？
For
Okay.
bringing anime to that astounding new low. Not to mention giving aspiring creators such god-awful advice as read the comments for valuable feedback, and filming strangers sleeping without their consent is a great idea for content.
Oh
I
my
award
God.
Tiny Tuber Adventures 5 concert hall trash bins
Yeah,
full
sounds
of
bad.
Herbalife
Sounds really, really
supplements,
bad.
Cutco knives, and hastily discarded Kizuna eye merch that is far too sweaty to ever catch fire.
Ew.
And that's all the trash we've got on tap tonight. If you're still hungry for more, you'll find a playlist of past episodes over that away, along with a roast of the 7 deadly sins that
a great
I
video, that.
recently went through excruciating pains to put on your plates. Until next season, I'm Jeff Thu, trash sommelier extraordinaire, bidding you adieu.
A DAU. That was good. That was great. Yeah. So, I'm getting better. I told you. I'm gonna watch more anime. So, yeah, wow, damn. Oh, that 7 Deadly Sins video is really good. I did a reaction to that like a couple of weeks ago. And, yeah. Make sure you check out my Etsy shop. Link is in the description for t-shirts and hoodies that I've designed. And thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video I upload, link in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month is all I support channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you guys for that. Thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. I'll see you guys all next time.